What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. The 55 million download Sugo-Fest with Luffy and Law and V2 Big Mom is almost here. It's going to be arriving on the 28th of October at 1900 PST time. I'm super excited for it, as I know many of you guys out there are as well. I'm going to be live streaming over on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Toadskii when the actual Sugo goes live. I'll be live on Twitch doing multi-pulls. Hopefully I can see you guys out there. It's going to be a big stream. But in this video today specifically, I want to discuss the different parts of the Sugo-Fest. This is always a question that comes around: which part should I pull on? This Sugo-Fest this time around is very interesting, and we'll discuss why I think it's so interesting throughout this video, of course. But big shout out to Timino23 on the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit Discord for putting together this infographic. I know that he does it for every big Sugo-Fest, so shout out to him for creating the infographic for the Sugo. Gives a very good overview as what to expect. So let's just jump into it. So first of all, I want to talk about part 1. So part 1, obviously the first part of the Sugo-Fest, is going to be here first for the first 48 hours from the 28th until the 30th, and obviously all 3 parts will be available during the 3rd of November and the 6th of November. So the thing is after part 1 finishes, when it returns, you can actually do all the steps once again if you choose to do so. But this is relating to the rate boosted legends and the rate boosted rare recruits for part 1. So you have obviously Big Mom and Luffy Law. Both of those characters are boosted for part 2. Both of those characters are easily tier 1 and above. I think Big Mom is a little less powerful than Luffy and Law, but Big Mom definitely has her place in this game with such a very powerful special ability, which I've already discussed in previous videos as well. And Luffy and Law, in my personal opinion, as it stands right now on global, I definitely think he's the best legend in the game. You also have the unevolved versions of them boosted, so you can pull their evolved versions as well. I mean, beggars can't be choosers, but I would prefer to pull the unevolved version to then evolve into the 6-star version, because, you know, it's kind of annoying having one, spot missing from the character log. But either way, we'd love to pull either of them, no matter what rarity the character is. Legend Jack is also boosted as well. He is very nice to have, kind of in the same vein as Legend Buggy, where he's like a character you want to pull once, but pulling multiples of that character, it's not that ideal. But having that EXP boosting captain is so good, especially during this period of time, during the 55 million download celebration, where we have the 3 times EXP Sunny ship available. Very nice to have Jack available. Cat Dog is also boosted. One of my favorite legends in the game. He's extremely fun for Striker and Cerebral teams. Honestly, one of the best captains to run for the int variation of the current Kizuna Clash on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. So if you pull Cat Dog, that's a fantastic pull. Legend Cracker is also one of the best legends in the game, or one of the best subs in the game. He has a very powerful special of chain boosting and color affinity. One of the best subs. Bato Cavendish, one of the best captains in the game and one of the best subs, has a great switch effect, great special ability, one of the best legends for sure. Legend Carrot, everyone knows how good Carrot is, the fastest legend in the game. V2 Sanji is a little outdated now, but still can provide some pretty serious damage output, and he's a relatively fast captain as well if you are opting to run fighter-based teams. And also V2 Shanks, who's always really good to have as well, great special ability and a usable captain, that's for sure as well. But definitely, Luffy, Law, Big Mom, Jack, Cat Dog, Cracker, like literally nearly all these legends are like top tier. Like in my personal tier listing, everyone in this boosted list is tier 1 and above. So you can't really go wrong with any of the characters here. Now, the boosted rare recruits as well, it's only the new batch that are boosted for the boosted rare recruits. You've got Croc and Robin, Lucci and Kaku, Ivankov and Bon Clay, and Smoker and Tashigi. All of those would be nice to get, of course, because they're all going to be boosted like probably 1.35 in the next treasure map. And well, specifically, I think that Ivankov and Bon Clay are the best characters here. But honestly, you can't really go wrong here. Part 2. Now, part 2 is from the 30th until the 1st, and with the limited pool here, you can see that Luffy and Law are boosted, Sanji and Judge are boosted, but Big Mom is not boosted. So that is something to take into consideration, that if you are looking specifically for Big Mom, you do not want to pull on part 2. So you can pull the unevolved and the evolved version of Luffy and Law and Sanji and Judge on part 2. V2 Zora is also available here as well. Really nice legend to have. Probably one of the best slasher subs in the entire game, with massive AoE, amazing type boosting effects, and beneficial orb enable for 3 turns. This guy's awesome, especially if you already have V2 Mihawk. You want to get your hands on Zora if you don't have him. Sanji and Judge, of course, one of the best legends in the game. Dex Sabo is here as well, who is really good. I haven't used him too often, but he is still one of the better legends in the game for sure. Whitebeard and Marco, you guys already know how I feel about this character. I think he's so good. One of the best stall-based legends in the game, being a rainbow captain as well. Very usable switch effect and special ability that can be utilized on a lot of teams, really. So Whitebeard and Marco is quite good, and V2 Kuzan is still relatively usable as well, especially that you can partner that with Carrot very well. The classes overlap very good, and Kuzan special works perfectly in tandem with Carrot, so you can get a 2.25 attack and an orb boost from Carrot and a full border matching orbs. So if that's something that you want to do, that is an option as well. And then you have special characters available on parts 2 and 3. So this is something a little bit different from the first part, which is predominantly where most people will be doing their pulls. But you have this new ace who's very good actually. He's a 3x chain locker, and he reduces cooldowns by 2, I think, for your whole team. But he binds himself for 5 turns. So there is good and bad things with this ace. And then you have the previous anniversary characters with Shanks and Reiju available as well. They're just okay. They're nothing really amazing. And then for the boosted rare recruits, you have 2 of the new batch with Lucci, Kaku, and Smoker and Tashigi, and then Ace, Reiju, and Shanks. So you really have to look at this and think, you know, do I really want to go for these specific legends, or do I want these specific characters? Remember, Ace is guaranteed on the second multi of part 2. Now that's for part 2. Now moving on to part 3, a little bit different once again from the first until the third. The limited pool, you've got V2 Big Mom, both evolved and unevolved, and then you have V2 Mihawk, evolved and unevolved, which I think is a very odd choice. I probably would have picked a dual legend, another dual legend like Bato and Cavendish for part 3, but very weird choice. But also V2 Katakuri is here, one of my favorite legends in the game. Capone is here, again, another one of my favorites in the game. V2 Akainu and Luffy and Ace are here as well. Again, like literally all these boosted legends are tier 1 and above in terms of their power level. So I think that choosing which part to pull on obviously is an important thing to discuss, but you can't really go wrong because all of them are very good. Now you have this Perona here as the new special character, guaranteed on the second multi of part 3. She has a pretty decent special where she has 3 turns of a significant damage reduction effect, so that's not too bad. Also the anniversary Sanji and the anniversary Boa Hancock are available here as well, and then the alternate rare recruits here with Eva and Bon Clay and Croc and Robin are boosted here as well with the other special rare recruit characters. So, like, looking at it, the way that I see it is, right, you can see how many characters are boosted on part 1. And what I think is going to be happening is on part 1, the rates are going to be pretty average across the board, in my personal opinion. But if you are looking for a very specific legend, I think parts 2 and 3 are going to be much higher. Obviously, I don't have any confirmation on this, but look at how many boosted characters are on part 1 compared to 2 and 3. It's quite astounding, honestly. And it even for the rare recruits as well, I feel like some of these rare recruits here will be higher rate boosted as well. Like these 2 guys were probably going to be high rate boosted compared to on part 1, and same with these guys on part 1. And I think for Luffy and Law, like if you specifically are looking for Luffy and Law, part 1 might not be the best part to pull on. It might be better on part 2. Obviously, this is all just speculation, but just looking at the boosted list, it has to happen, right? For a 2.5 legend rate, these guys on part 2 and these guys on part 3 are likely going to be higher rate boosted than their appearance on part 1, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully the rates are actually decent. And obviously in this Sugo-Fest, there are dual legend limited pool, which just involves every single dual legend in the game, and you can actually pull the evolved versions of Sanji and Judge, Big Mom, and also Luffy and Law. And then also there is a dual characters limited pool, which does include all of the rare recruits, evolved and unevolved, that are in this batch with Luffy and Law. Just some other stuff here as well. Obviously it's gold only, 2.5 times legend rate, which means that the chance to pull a red poster in this Sugo-Fest is 10%. So on average, you should be getting at least 1 red per multi, on average, but we'll see how that goes. Also for part 1 is probably the best part to pull just overall, just looking at things at a glance, because there are so many steps in part 1 for so many specific legends. So you can see for part 1, you got a 30 gem on the first multi. 2, 4, and 5 is just a guaranteed legend, which is cool. The third multi is a guaranteed dual character, which is this pull here. This is guaranteed on part 3, guaranteed to get one of these characters here. The 6th and 12th, 1 legend guaranteed with max special level, that's just okay. The 8th multi is 1 limited pool legend guaranteed. Limited pool refers to this pool on each part of the Sugo-Fest. So just the top legends that are boosted, you're guaranteed to get one of those on the 8th multi. And then on the 10th multi, a dual legend is guaranteed, which is this pool here on the 10th. The 14th and 16th, if you go that hard, 1 limited pool legend with max special, which would be this pool right here with max special. And then the 18th multi, 1 dual legend guaranteed with max special, which again is this pool here. Now, part 2 and 3 are much more low key. You can see that the maximum step you can go to is 12 multis, where it's 18 on part 1. So it really depends on, you know, how hard you're going to be going. First multi, 30 gems, and then obviously for part 2 and 3 on the second multi, you can get either Ace or Perona, depending on which part you pull on the second multi. 3, 4, and 8 is a regular legend. The 5th multi is a dual character, which is this pool here. The 6th multi is 1 limited pool legend, which obviously is this top pool here, just making sure you guys understand. The 10th multi is a legend with max special level, and the 12th multi is a dual legend guaranteed. So just to overview it now, which part is the best part to pull? I still think in terms of all the boosted characters, part 1 probably is still the best part, because the steps are better, there are more guaranteed legends along the way, and much easier to get. And also the boosted legends here, like all of them, are amazing to have. Obviously, if you have Legend Jack at this point, and you already have V2 Sanji and V2 Shanks, like if you already have these characters that are either less powerful or not as desirable as the other characters here, part 1 might not be as good, but it really comes down to their rates, which we don't know currently. But I still think part 1 is great because it has you have Cracker, Barto Cavendish, Carrot, Dogcat, and then the new characters, of course, which are all very, very good. Part 2, though, has some great characters as well. Sanji and Judge, man. Having Sanji and Judge available as a 6-star and a 5-star form makes him a little easier to pull, just compared to some of the other legends here. Zoro and Sabo, honestly, like me just personally, me having the characters, I've used both of those characters more as subs compared to as captains, so it really depends on your other characters in your character box as to, you know, how you can use these characters. Whitebeard and Marco is still a phenomenal captain that can clear pretty much everything in the game, and V2 Kuzan I've already talked about just before. And then you got the part 3, which you have V2 Mihawk, and honestly, V2 Mihawk is fantastic, but I feel like you only get the best out of him if you also have V2 Zoro. So at that point, it's kind of iffy. And then V2 Katakuri, amazing character. Capone, amazing character that can carry you through a lot of content. V2 Akainu, still amazing. Not as good nowadays because his end of turn damage doesn't scale as well now that bosses have significantly more HP. Plus, there's so many more debuffs to get around nowadays, which makes him a little more difficult to use. And Luffy and Ace, I feel, is slightly outdated compared to a lot of the dual characters in the game. Still can clear a lot of content with relative ease, but compared to some of the other dual units, he definitely is not as powerful. And it really just comes down to what are you missing, right? If you are a majority of missing characters in part 2, you should probably go for part 2 because that's the highest chance to get the new characters. Plus, you look at the special characters, this Ace is really good. Perona is just okay, but I think the Ace is really, really powerful. So that is also a tipping point that I think part 2 might be slightly better. Plus, you know, Luffy and Law and Sanji and Judge, in my opinion, are better together. Not really on the same team, but in a collective pullable pool, I think that Luffy and Law and Sanji and Judge are better than trying to pull for Big Mom and V2 Mihawk. Obviously depends on what you have on your character box. But overall, I think part 1 is just the best because of the amount of steps that are on part 1. And I think it's just overall better to have a higher chance to get a vast array of characters on part 1 compared to parts 2 and 3. But of course, it always comes down to what are you missing, and you should always go for the part that you're missing the most characters on. that is always the way to go. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to the Luffy and Law Sugo-Fest, and hopefully you guys are too. Remember, I am going to be streaming over on twitch.tv/Toadskii for the beginning of this Sugo-Fest. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.